You know, if you walk into any great city and just look up that skyline, it's literally telling you a story about what that civilization truly values. We build all sorts of things, but it's the structures we build the largest, the ones we pour the most into, they reveal our deepest beliefs. They show us what we really worship.
So let's try it. I want you to just take a moment and picture your city's skyline. What's the tallest building? What's the structure that dominates everything else? Because whatever you just pictured, that's the key to this whole story. And to see why, we need to understand how we even got here.
The philosopher Oswald Spengler absolutely nailed it back in the 20th century. See, his whole idea was that every civilization expresses its unique soul through its architecture. The stone, the steel, the glass, it's not just functional stuff. It's a visible, tangible form of an invisible inward belief. Basically, our buildings are our beliefs, just made real.
Okay, so to figure out our own skyline, we've got to go way back to the beginning of this whole architectural story. And believe it or not, it starts in a place you would never expect, a tomb. We're heading to ancient Egypt, where the most magnificent structures weren't for the living at all, but were built to try and conquer death itself. So what's going on here? Well, it all goes back to one single myth. The Egyptians believed their god Osiris was pieced back together after death so he could rule the underworld. Mummification was about preserving the body, sure, but the pyramids, they were something else entirely. They were a massive, monumental attempt to replay that exact story, to beat death and lock in a ruler's spot in the afterlife. And, Egypt wasn't the only one doing this. This whole idea of these massive tombs gave us the word mausoleum, which came from a tomb that was so incredible it became one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. You see the same thing in China, with Qin Shi Huang's huge tomb and his terracotta army standing guard. The goal? Always the same. Make sure your power doesn't end when you do. Right, so here's the big takeaway from this. A skyline that's all about tombs is sending a crystal clear message. It's a civilization screaming, death is not the end. It's saying that legacy, permanence, and making sure power continues are way, way more important than the everyday needs of the living. But of course, not every civilization was looking to the next life. A lot of them were laser focused on grabbing and holding on to power right here, right now. And for that, they built a totally different kind of monument. The palace. And this is where you can really see the huge shift in what people cared about. Where Egypt poured all its genius into the tomb to try and overcome death, Imperial Rome was pouring its resources into the palace to cement its control. So the whole story changes from being about the next world to being about absolute mastery over this one. I mean, think about it. From Babylon to Persia to Rome, the palace was suddenly the center of the entire world. Just picture Augustus building his palace on Palatine Hill, basically declaring himself the heart of the Roman universe. This isn't just a big house, right? This is architecture used as a weapon. The height, the massive scale, the grand staircases. It all screams the same thing. Power flows from the top down. But, well, empires fall. After Rome crumbled, Europe entered a completely new phase, and the story of its skyline had to shift again, moving away from the power of a single emperor and towards a new, unifying spiritual idea that would completely remake the continent. So, how did we get there? Well, first, Rome collapses, and it's all about survival. People are building defensive castles. But then, this incredibly powerful new idea starts to spread: Christendom. This idea brought warring lords and scattered people together under one single spiritual flag. And the symbol of this new power? The cathedral. A building that reached for the heavens and recentered entire cities around one single upward focus. And this is something you've really got to wrap your head around. Cathedrals make zero economic sense. They took generations, sometimes centuries to build, and cost a fortune. So why do it? Because they weren't built for financial economy. They were built for a spiritual economy, designed to shape people's hearts and minds towards God. This was, a truly historic moment. For the very first time, a single faith held both the spiritual and the political levers of power across Europe. And the cathedral was the perfect symbol of this new reality, a declaration in stone and glass that God was at the very top, and all other authority was below him. And just like that, the story comes full circle, right back to us, right now. Because the days when church steeples dominated the skyline, well, they're long gone. Today, a very different kind of spire is piercing the sky, and man, is it telling a different story about what we worship. Let's just be honest about it. Look at New York, London, Shanghai, Dubai, any major city. The tallest, most expensive, most important-looking buildings are not tombs or palaces or cathedrals. They are financial skyscrapers. They are literally monuments to debt, to stocks, to banks, to money.
I mean, look at this comparison. It tells you everything you need to know. The whole purpose has shifted from transcendence to, well, business and marketing. Their permanence isn't measured in thousands of years. It's measured in decades before they're outdated. They operate in an economy not of the spirit, but of attention and cash flow. It's a total fundamental shift in what we think is important.
You know, the philosopher Jacques Ellul pretty much saw this whole thing coming. He pointed out that our cities were being rebuilt around one thing: efficiency. We now value what's functional and profitable over what's permanent, beautiful, or transcendent. Our skyscrapers are the ultimate proof of that.
So, what are these towers for, really? They're not inspiring some grand new culture like a cathedral did. Nope. Their job is to grab two things: your attention and your money. Owning a piece of the skyline is a marketing play, an ad that you hope turns into revenue, all while the old church steeples just sit there in their shadows. So think about the journey we've been on, from the tomb to the palace, from the cathedral to the bank tower. The story of our skylines is just the story of our changing gods. See, a city, it never lies. It always tells you exactly what it values most. And really, that's the one thing to remember from all of this. It's this simple, super powerful tool you can use to read the soul of any culture, past or present. If you want to understand a civilization, all you have to do is look at what it builds highest.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. Our skyline is the story we're writing about ourselves right now, in steel and glass. So when people in the future look back at the towers we decided to build, what story will they tell about us? What will they say we truly worshipped?